Have you ever wondered why it is you find yourself sabotaging your weight loss attempts? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things you can put in place to help you minimize self-sabotage, just like the lady you can see on screen right now, Gaynor, who didn't have these 3 things in place. Once she put them in place, it enabled her to go on and lose 80 pounds. So let's dive into what those 3 things are that you can put in place today to become more successful with your weight loss and minimize self-sabotage. So the first thing that Gaynor didn't have in place that was causing her to self-sabotage her weight loss attempts was having a clearly defined goal of what she wanted to achieve. Now, I hear people often say, yeah, I just want to lose a few pounds. Well, in my opinion and in my experience, just having a vague goal like that will not get you the results you're looking for. What I like people to do is say, yep, I want to lose a specific amount of weight by a specific time. Now, you may be thinking, well, hang on, Eric, that puts me under too much pressure. But the problem is, if you just have a wishy-washy goal like I want to lose some weight, A, you're not held accountable by yourself or anybody else, and the chances are you're just going to drift on. If you don't put a time frame on it, let's say you do say you want to lose 10 pounds, for example, but there's no time frame attached to that, that 10 pounds could take you the next 2 or 3 years to lose. So having a clearly defined goal is very important. And when I talk about a clearly defined goal, here are the things you need to be able to tick off with your goal. It needs to be specific in terms of, what you want, so a specific amount of weight. It needs to be measurable, so you need to be able to measure it on a weekly basis typically. It needs to be achievable in your mind. Now, the achievable bit might seem a little bit of a stretch, but you need to believe that, with time you can achieve the goal that you've set out for yourself. It needs to be relevant and realistic, so 2 hours in there, and it needs to be time bound. You need to have that time attached to it. Now, in addition to that, to make this goal even more powerful, what I like my clients to do is create a goal card, something where they draw something out pictorially. You can see on screen here where Gaynor had a goal card drawn out, and basically the central image is a picture of you. It doesn't have to be a Picasso, it just needs to be a rough drawing, and then branching off from that, you want to have where are you wearing the outfit, who's there, any particular sounds, any particular smells, how do you feel about looking that way and weighing that amount of weight. And what that will do, it will bring your goal into more sort of reality. You'll feel more excited about it. Rather than just being, I want to lose 20 pounds, you've now got a visual representation of how it looks. You've also got some things connected to it as to how you're going to be feeling once you achieve that goal. So that's number 1, having a clearly defined goal. The second thing that Gaynor didn't have in place was a plan that was personalized to her. Just saying you want to lose weight and not having a plan attached to that, that's just like wishful thinking. It's like a pipe dream. It's never going to probably come to reality. So the sort of things you want to have in your plan are, how are you going to keep yourself motivated throughout the course of the journey of reaching your goal? Because if you're looking to lose 20, 30, 50 pounds or more, you are going to have some ups and downs along the way, and you're going to need to have something that keeps you motivated to keep going. So you need to have something in place for that. And that first step, having the goal, is certainly a big step in the right direction, but you need to have some other things as well, which I'll talk about as a third point later on. So your plan needs to include how you're going to stay motivated. It needs to include how you're going to eat, not just how you're going to eat when everything's perfect, but how you're going to eat on, let's say, weekends when it's a bit more challenging. That's typically when people fall off the wagon when it comes to healthy eating. How are you going to eat when you go away for special occasions maybe? Again, that's another great time for falling off the wagon. And how are you going to eat over the holiday periods? Again, another great time for falling off the wagon. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second you have to be eating healthily all the time 100%, because nobody ever does. But if you have a plan for how you're going to eat in those different situations, it's going to help you to stay on course a lot better than not having a plan. And the third part of your plan needs to be, how are you going to move your body? How are you going to exercise? When are you going to fit it in? What are you going to be doing? All of these things need to be put together so that you've got a definite plan of how you're going to reach your goal of whatever weight you've set yourself. Okay, before I dive into point number 3, just to let you know, below this video there's a free weight loss kickstart that can help you get your weight loss off to the best possible start, and it accompanies this video really well. Go to a page, answer a few simple questions, takes less than 3 minutes, and you'll get back a personalized report that will give you a kickstart for your mindset, your diet and your exercise. You can click on that at the end of this video. Okay, so what's the third thing that Gaynor didn't have in place that was causing her to self-sabotage herself? Now, this third point might sound a little bit self-serving because of the job that I do, but the third point is having some external accountability. Why is that important? Well, first of all, what kind of external accountability are we talking about here? Well, it could be a professional coach like myself, it could be a family member, it could be a friend. And if it's either of those two people, you need to make sure they're people that you can trust and people that are not going to judge you when things don't go quite well. Now, when it comes to weight loss, there are three things that happen at any given time. You're either losing weight, which is great. If you're losing weight, I think that's a fantastic time for your accountability buddy or coach to reinforce the good behaviors that you're doing and maybe add in some additional things that you can be doing because you're now more open to listening because you've just had some success. The second thing that could be happening with your weight loss is you've just gained weight. Well, again, you need to have some external eyeballs on you because when you've got some external eyeballs, they can maybe identify why maybe you've gained some weight. I'll give you a classic, for example. Some of my clients have a great week Monday through to, let's say, Friday. Then on a Saturday, they have a heavy carbohydrate sort of pasta type meal. So they haven't overeaten, they're within their calories, everything's going well. Come Monday, they've lost no weight or they've gained weight. What's gone on? Well, a classic thing that can happen there is when you eat something that's heavy in carbohydrates, like a pasta meal, you can retain a lot of water. Now, I explain this to my clients, but it's very easy to forget that when you step on the scales and you see the scales going up, you can become quite emotional. But having some external accountability can just remind you, and that can help you sort of overcome that bit of an obstacle and get back on track. In actual fact, in that scenario, you're not really off track. That's just about water weight. And the third situation you could find yourself in is your weight loss has just plateaued. So again, having some external eyeballs on and somebody you can speak to, maybe they can identify some things that have possibly crept into your weight loss plan that you're not even aware of. Because look, when we're doing something like weight loss, we can find all the excuses in the world to justify eating the extra biscuit, drinking the extra glass of wine, having the extra slice of cheese, or having additional food at your main meal. You know, we can easily justify that. But when you've got somebody external helping you, they're a little bit more dispassionate. They're not as connected to it as what you are, and they can see the wood for the trees, whereas often when we're involved in it, we can't see the wood for the trees. Now, if you want to get a more detailed plan, check out the video that's on screen now, and that'll give you a more detailed 6-step plan to help you on your way with your weight loss.